How's it, guys? Ah, 15. Whew, okay. Right, so I'm definitely not doing that again. But those are my 15 one-arm, 1 APUs, one-arm push-ups in support of the Bokke for you JMO SEALs. And just for good gears ahead of the weekend. And yeah, this is the last edition of my little rugby wrap, my Rugby World Cup wrap. Just looking ahead to what promises to be an unbelievable day. World Cup final. The Bokke are there. It's pretty fucking incredible, excuse my language. Yeah, tremendously excited as we all are. And yeah, just a very quick brief review on the 2 semi-final games, and then I'll talk a little bit about the final and what I think might happen on the day. So I'll try to keep this video shorter than the previous one. 16 minutes was obviously a bit long. So just obviously looking at that first game between the All Blacks and England. Yeah, there's been a lot spoken of the game, and you know, England have been rightly congratulated for their performance. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. Just the way they stuck to their game plan, the way they were able to dismantle the All Blacks in that fashion. It was just like relentless. I mean, that was the thing that I think impressed me the most personally, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. You always felt, I certainly had the feeling that New Zealand were into that game at some point, and there was going to be like a 10-minute period where, you know, where the All Blacks would really, you know, cause problems for the English, and it just didn't happen. I mean, you know, they set the tone from like 1.5 minutes into the game with that try by Tuilagi, and it just continued from there. And like they set the tempo of the game. They played the game the way they wanted to play the game. They didn't allow the All Blacks to implement their game plan on them, and it was extremely impressive. Like, you know, their attitude in defence was power. I mean, you know, some of those hits that came in, Underhill, Curry, Itoje, who had an enormous game. It was impressive. Like, the one thing I do want to say about that game quickly, and I think, you know, a lot of people have lost sight of it because of how impressive the English were, and full credit to them. I don't want to take anything away from them. But, you know, the All Blacks didn't front up, to be perfectly honest. They didn't front up physically, and that was a big problem for them in that match. Even from the way they handled the haka, it was clear what their attitude was. And even that rattled New Zealand. It didn't go according to the way New Zealand wanted it to go, the way they always used to it going. And right from then, the tone wasn't right for the All Blacks. And I just think physically, if you look at the collisions, if you look at the breakdown, if you look at the set piece, those 3 areas, for me, those are absolutely fundamental areas in rugby. And the more the game's changed, the more it stayed the same in that respect. And you can just never substitute for those areas. So, like, if you are a team that can't compete in those areas, that can't like lay your authority on the game in those aspects, then you're going to have a long day at the office, kind of thing. And that was clear with the All Blacks. And the more the game went on, the more they struggled. They looked rattled, they looked out of ideas, and the English just carried on sticking to their game plan. They dominated those areas, they dominated the collisions, they dominated the breakdown, and it just brought all of their players into the game. It brought Underhill into the game, it brought Curry into the game, it brought Bully Vunipola into the game, and you know, they were just extremely impressive, and they were playing on the front foot at all times. Even when they were defending, they were going forward on defence. They had the momentum, they had the spark, they had the energy. It was just awesome to watch. So yeah, congratulations, England. Moving on to the Bok-Wales game very quickly. Yeah, look, guys, I'm going to address this very quickly, and then I want to move on. Willie Leroux and Faf de Klerk, I love those guys, I really do, and I back them 150%. And I just wish other South Africans could feel the same way, because that's what we really need. We need the country to get behind these guys. Like, it's really important. You know, like, I understand that Willie has had several shockers. I know he's been inconsistent. I know he's had form problems for quite some time. Be that as it may, nothing's going to change at this point, okay? There's no way that Rassie is going to make a ludicrous decision to drop Villarreal to the bench or out of the 23 or whatever it might be. So let's just forget about that. Let's get behind him. Let's back him. Let's hope that he can have a moment in that final that's going to convert him from a confidence point of view. His confidence is low, understandably, and it's hard for him. But what I do want to say about the game that he had on Saturday, I think a lot of people are focusing on the wrong things. They're focusing on the fact that he knocked on one ball, which was a very clumsy, foolish knock on. And I granted it shouldn't happen at that level. Same thing with Faf. He also had one really bad moment, and Faf had his usual 3 or 4 customary rubbish, box kicks, which only went a couple of meters. But look outside of those moments, I dare you, and have a look at the game properly. Have a look at the high balls that Willie took. Okay, he took several of them. They were very impressive high balls. Okay, look at his support play when we had one of our very few line breaks, which could have resulted in a try. It didn't. He ran a great support line there. He did a couple of really good things in that game, and I just think his confidence is slowly building. And anyway, I believe in him and I back him for this final. To be perfectly honest, as a Springbok fan, we don't have a choice. You might as well get behind the guy because he is our number 15 on Saturday, and we need him to perform well. So let's support him and let's not criticize him, okay? And Faf de Klerk is a great rugby player, all right? And I'm not going to listen to anyone who says any different, okay? He plays a game plan which is instructed on him, and it's the correct game plan because that's how the Springboks are going to win this World Cup if they can win it, right? That's the only way, okay? Our game plan is extremely effective. All right, and the fact that we're in the final is testament to that fact. Just looking at the game against England and how I envisage it might go. Sorry guys, just give me a second here. Okay, and how I envisage it might go. It's a hard one to call. I'm just going to move into a bit more light because I think it's getting really dark here, and it's probably not working out too well. So yeah, it is a very difficult game to call, and the bookies are obviously favouring England. I think they're favouring them by 5 to 7 at this point, which would make sense to me, based on the reaction to the semi-final, to their semi-final results, and also let's not forget about their victory over Australia, which was probably equally impressive. Well, not quite as impressive, but it was still a very good performance. I'll go back to it again. I think the fundamental difference between those two games and what the English are going to come up against on Saturday is the physicality that the South African side is going to present. And it's quite an obvious statement, but we are simply not going to get bullied by the English pack. It will not happen. Okay, if anything, it'll be the other way around. And the foundation for a performance and for a victory is always going to be laid down by the tight five. Okay, and then the tight five, if it's a solid platform, they can lay a foundation for the loosies to play the sort of game that they want to be playing. All right. Line out, scrum, it's going to be a massive contest. I mean, the English pack is a formidable pack within themselves, and they're extremely impressive. They're impressive athletes. You look at the likes of Itoje, you look at Courtney Laws. Their front row is pretty decent. I'm not convinced about their hooker, to be honest, but he's solid enough. And then obviously their Lucies have been the talk of the tournament. The Kamikaze kids, the Energizer Bunnies, whatever you want to call them, very impressive players. And they're going to be a handful for us. I mean, I'm not denying that. But yeah, where I see the critical battle happening is around that breakdown, is around the gain line. And obviously those set pieces. So England had it all their way against New Zealand. They controlled the set piece. They got the ball they wanted, and New Zealand just looked a little bit starstruck, to be honest. And I think they did underestimate England to a degree. I don't think they really knew what they were getting themselves into in that game. They didn't know the English side well enough, which is an advantage that we definitely have. We have several of our players playing in the UK. They are going to know the English side better than the New Zealanders did. There's no doubt about it. So New Zealand are stuck away on the arse end of the world, and they don't follow a lot of English rugby. It's a fact, and that did definitely count against them in this match. So just to predict how the game's going to go, and I just want to talk very quickly into the box kicking element and our game plan, because it's largely misunderstood by Springbok fans. I find that fans are focusing on all the wrong areas. They're criticising the side for the wrong things. It's all quite superficial, and it's like, oh, let's have a laugh, let's have a go at Philly, let's have a go at Faf, let's have a go at Damien. I don't know. Some people don't know what to talk about now because they can't have a go at Damien because he's been so phenomenal, and I can test that he's pretty much always been phenomenal in the matches that really count, to be honest. I just feel that on the day this game can go either way. it's a 50-50. It is a pure 50-50. Like, I think the playing fields are completely level. I think what happened in the semi-finals in both matches is completely actually out the equation. Potentially, we might even be better prepared physically after the challenge we had with Wales, from a physical standpoint, I'm talking, okay, in terms of the battle of the packs, than England will be having got through New Zealand and Australia, oddly enough, because they were so dominant physically against those two sides, and it's a different challenge that we're gonna put in front of them on Saturday. So yeah, if I had to make a score prediction, it's really hard to say. Like, I was tempted to say, and that, like, my head might even go England's way, like, just based on the fact that they probably are overall a better balanced side. But the more I think about this match, the better I feel about the Bokke and our chances of getting through this one. I just think we've got such a belief in our team. We knocked over a Welsh side, which was a very, very competitive side, a side that had won the Grand Slam, won the Six Nations, beaten an England side, which is not very different to the side that we're going to be playing on Saturday, only a couple of months ago. These are material facts. And I just think we're good enough to win this match. I think things are going to have to go our way. It's going to be an arm wrestle. It's going to be hardcore. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what game plans both sides come with. Our game plan won't differ too much. Just going back to the box kicking. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Just for people to consider that this box kicking strategy and our game plan is very well thought out. Okay, it's very well analysed. Okay, we've got not just Rassie, but a team of experts around him who have developed this game plan over a period of time, and it's a formula which is backed up by stats, and it's proven to work, okay? And it's worked in previous World Cups to one degree or another, all right? And we just back ourselves. We back our defensive system, we back our defensive alignment, we back our line speed, okay? We're not too worried about putting up those kicks. We're not even that worried if the kick doesn't go as far as we want it to. Maybe it's a bit short, maybe it's a bit long. Yes, it's not ideal, but we believe in our defensive strategy. We believe that we can knock teams backward in the tackle. We believe that we can dominate that breakdown point. And if we can do those things against England, which will be a massive order because they are a very physical side, probably I'd say the second most physical side in the world behind us. Then who knows what's going to happen, kind of thing. I mean, we could see a different side of this English side on Saturday if they get put under that kind of pressure. And it's going to boil down to one or two moments, and who handles the pressure better. The team that makes the less unforced errors. It's been a concern for us in the semi-final and in the quarter-final, obviously, that we had a few moments where we should have done better, kind of thing. We made a couple of elementary errors, and that really has annoyed me a lot. And I completely understand people's frustration there. But yeah, I just feel like we can do this. Like, we can really do this. Like, we've just got to get behind the team, guys. Come on, Boks supporters. Let's just get fully behind our boys. Let's not be critical if they make mistakes. Like I said in my first video, let's just get behind them. Let's support them. These guys are not trying to make mistakes. These are the best players in our country. Okay, and they deserve to be where they are. And it's a phenomenal achievement within itself that we've got to this final. And we've got a real good chance of going on to win this thing. And the Bokke need our support. They don't need our criticism. They need our support. All right. And on the day, anything can happen. It's a World Cup final. These games are settled on very fine margins, and it's possible. It really is possible for us. And what we need right now is belief. We need to back our boys, and we need to truly believe that we can win this World Cup, because that's what we need from the players. And it's massively about belief right now, and the psychology of this game is on a whole nother level. I mean, it's big time, and like, England are going to have a challenge there after their semi-final to psychologically pick themselves up, having beaten an Australian side, a decent Australian side, not a great Australian side, but a decent side, and a phenomenal All Black side. Okay, obviously not phenomenal on the day, but still a phenomenal All Black side. All right, and they've got to pick themselves up for a third week in a row. Okay, and that's going to be hard for them. Like, it's not going to be easy at all. And the closer this game gets, I feel the more it favours the Bokke. If we can stop England from getting away from us, then if we can turn this game into an arm wrestle, then I believe we're going to win that arm wrestle. We've got the ammunition, we've got the equipment to win that arm wrestle. And it's like Eddie Jones said when he was involved in the 07 setup, something along the lines of, if this gets into an arm wrestle, then we being the Springboks, because he was obviously the technical advisor at that point, then we will win that arm wrestle, because we've got the bigger players, we got the stronger side physically. So guys, just to end off, let's get behind the guys. I know I'm repeating myself over and over again, but I can't reiterate it enough. Let's just be positive. Let's support our Bokke. It's an awesome, exciting week with all the media, with all the talk. Just I would say, just get stuck in. Take in as much of it as you can. Spread the good word, and let's just talk the Boks up. Let's believe that we can win this thing because we can. Bokke!